Happy Monday, setting everything up. Alrighty, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about how extraordinary thinkers embrace non-linear thinking. It's a little different. And here's the thing, if you struggle with perfectionistic thinking, man, I have you in mind as I wrote this. This one's going to be short and simple, so let's dive in. Now, individuals considered exceptional thinkers have a unique approach to the world. They're free from restrictions of linear thinking. Now, unlike average minded individuals who seek logical explanations for everything, extraordinary thinkers, so the world class thinkers, are open to the idea that not everything in life has a clear cause and effect. How many times do you go through life trying to figure out why did this happen? Or what was the cause of this traffic? Now, studies in neuroscience and psychology have indicated that events can occur without a definite cause. Radical, right? New way to see things. Yet those with average linear thinking tend to attribute internal issues to external situation, to external factors, and constantly seek reasons for various occurrences. Now, by embracing nonlinear thinking, one can reach a heightened state of enlightenment and become more open-minded and prepared to accept the complexities and uncertainties of life. Now, really quickly, let me get clear on what is linear thinking versus nonlinear thinking. Linear thinking is something that analytical individuals, a lot of high performers do. Basically, it's where life has to be like this: 1 + 1 = 2. This plus this equals that, right? It's this very organized approach of thinking that's very much fit into the rules of society or what you've learned. Nonlinear thinkers are really going to use the expansiveness of thinking. They're going to think outside the box. They're not going to allow limiting beliefs to stop them. 1 + 1 doesn't have to equal 2, right? In this situation, even though it's not going to make logical sense, 1 + 1 could equal 11 and they can make sense. Hey, thanks for joining us. Now, this linear thinking can be incredibly limiting when it comes to problem solving, right? How many times have you ran into a problem and you tried to implement the 1 + 1 = 2 strategy and it just didn't work out? Now, individuals with average linear thinking often display an overdeveloped right prefrontal cortex, which leads them to dwell on negative experiences and inhibits their ability to focus on positive aspirations. The overdevelopment of the right side of the prefrontal cortex can contribute to increased negativity, a higher risk of depression, and a tendency to avoid confronting challenges, which will ultimately hinder your personal growth. Now, if you're wondering, oof, do I have this overly developed right side of my prefrontal cortex? Then check in with yourself. How much of your thoughts are negative? How much of your life are you focused on what you want to avoid? Here's an example. People who have an avoidance mentality would say this: I'm moving to the country to get away from the noise. So they're motivated by fear. Now, the challenges associated with problem solving stemming from an overly developed right prefrontal cortex led those with average linear thinking to give up on finding solutions and instead choose to ignore their problems, leaving them feeling stressed and aimless, right? They're almost like an ostrich burying their head in the sand. Now, this reactive approach to challenges often leads to daydreaming about life without problems, which honestly is unrealistic. Like, as long as you're breathing, you're going to have problems, but problems aren't a bad thing. And that is the key that the world-class thinker has understood is they don't see or associate problems with bad things. They associate problems with opportunity, with upgrade, with challenge, with getting new promises and so forth. Now, in contrast, the extraordinary thinker, they tackle challenges very, very differently. Now, while they're not exempt from flaws, right? No one is perfect. They generally embrace a non-linear approach, recognizing that life does not really adhere to this logical sense of viewpoint that so many people want it to, right? They really want to think illogically. And because they allow themselves to think illogically, they actually are able to find solutions so much faster. Now, they are unperturbed by this realization and are thus able to engage in more expansive thinking. Expansive thinking is just really being creative, right? It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, but as long as it makes sense to you, that's awesome. Unlike average-minded individuals, extraordinary or the world-class thinker or the champion accepts that not everything has a reason. When you realize this is truth, you will have grown in maturity. And more importantly, they acknowledge that sometimes the reason, honestly, is irrelevant and really not worth your bandwidth to figure out why it happened. Now, by thinking illogically, By thinking logical and unconventionally and believing in the extraordinary, you know what happens? These world class thinkers can bring their ideas to fruition so much more quicker than the average minded individual. While average minded individuals may have an equally or overly developed right prefrontal cortex compared to their left side, right? Because the world class thinker has a strong left side prefrontal cortex. Average people typically have a strong right side of their prefrontal cortex. Right side is going to be more problem focused, more negative, going to lead to depression. Left side is going to be more positive, optimistic, approach oriented, motivated by what you want to achieve. Okay. Now, with their positive outlook, with champions' positive outlook, their practice of gratitude, and the fearlessness that they have when facing challenges, extraordinary thinkers can swiftly devise creative solutions that propel them closer to their objectives. Their ability to remain optimistic and practice gratitude increases their capacity to find solutions to problems. Now, positive thinking produces more positive thinking. Shocking, right? You go plant strawberries, you're going to get strawberries. If you plant blueberries and you hope for apples, well, that's just a type of illogicalness that we are not talking about, right? We would say that's insanity. While negative thinking produces more negative thinking, right? So what you're going to put in is what you're going to get out, which is why you've got to learn how to be solution focused. For instance, solution focused thinking enhances the ability to find solutions, whereas problem focused thinking increases the likelihood of uncovering even more problems. Becoming a world class thinker, becoming a champion is so much simpler than you might think. You just got to get out of your own way by getting out of the rat race of insanity. Now, to succeed and attain greatness, you must condition your mind to adopt a cheerful, optimistic, and creative mindset. Okay, we're not talking about fine arts when we talk about creativity. We're just talking about expansive thinking. What's a new way you could look at whatever you're looking at? What's a different perspective? Understanding that life does not always adhere to a strict sense of logic is crucial, right? So many of my clients will come in and be like, I'm really logical. Well, guess what? You're 100% emotional because you're a human. You just justify everything you do through logic, but you're actually motivated through emotion. And when you realize this, you can really start to throw out that, oh, I need to be logical out the bath. And if you believe in the divine, if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in God, then understand that that higher being is extremely illogical, which makes it so marvelous. So it's important to remember that your perception of the world shapes your reality, which can significantly influence your journey to success. So I want to give you 4 action steps, right? Number 1, I want you to start to identify the limiting logical rules in your life. So notice when you think in terms of should, need, ought, or must, or even when, oh, that's not possible. Well, why is it not possible? Really, really start to dive into this. And then what you'll find is these words indicate where this restrictive in the box thinking is, right? Really pay attention to where you're saying, oh, I can't, not possible, this should happen, or this shouldn't happen, or I should do it this way, or I must have this. Really pay attention to your self-talk, okay? Number 2, you've got to embrace solution-focused thinking. You have to believe, and it sounds so simple, but simply having the conviction and the belief that a solution exists, that you trust that a solution exists and that you will find it, will radically change your game. Okay, radically change your life, right? And this is a perfect example of an approach oriented mindset working towards your goals. Number 3, I want you to reframe challenges. Okay, everyone has challenges. Every single person. Challenges are really going to help you sharpen your character. And we love people with great character. We do not like people with bad character. But you don't get a great character by having life given to you. You get a great character by overcoming obstacles and learning how to operate in an unconditional and abundant mindset, unconditional love mindset with abundance. Excuse me there. So you need to view them as opportunities. Any challenge you have is an opportunity to grow you, to teach you, and allow you to become the best version of yourself if you're willing to take that challenge on. And only you can do that. 4th one, this is my absolute favorite. I learned this a few months ago. And when I started to apply this one to my life, oh man, I became even better at finding solutions. And it's this: think like a kindergartner. That's right. I didn't say that wrong. Literally think like a kindergartner. Simplify the situation and use your creativity. This is not pre-recorded, by the way. So you enjoy your little laugh there. But when you think like a kindergartner, it will help you kind of remove this pressure out of the way. Kids have this amazing ability to find solutions so simplistically. It's insane. Like if you have a kindergartner or a child 7 years or younger in your life, then what I would encourage is go ask them a simple problem that you're facing in your life and how they would deal with it. And you'd be surprised by their confidence and they're like almost like their gumption, like, I just do this, right? Adults overcomplicate things typically because of all of our unresolved insecurities, a feeling of unworthiness, a belief that if you have this, you'll find fulfillment, or if you have this, you'll find happiness. So those are the 4 action plans. Or 4 steps for your action plan. I'm going to put that in the comments. I am wishing you greatness. Go and start to practice nonlinear thinking, right? In your life, 1 + 1 does not have to equal 2, right? Go create your rules, be kind, give love, give abundance, all to everyone you run into. And most importantly, go create a great day. It is up to you to make a great day happen. I'll see you tomorrow.